Hello, this is the backlog for our third sprint. Out of the 6 user stories that we assigned to ourselves, we were able to fully complete and close out 5 of them, leaving only 1 user story with only 2 tasks left. Overall, in the project, I think that we did a very successful job. We learned a lot. We were able to learn how to implement tools like find bugs and unit tests and even the continuous integration to help us produce higher quality software. I think that our 3 main accomplishments regarding the app, first of them would have to be just having a team full of agile newbies, you could say, come together and pull off these sprints, relatively successful sprints too. The second one would have to be a graph feature. There was actually a really cool graph feature that our team was able to implement. I think it's just really cool that we were able to add that and have tracking details through that. The third one would have to be a bug reporting system that we were able to implement. That was another cool little nifty tool that we were able to add in. About the agile process, I think we all got a better understanding of what it feels and looks like to be part of an agile team. Just the daily stand-ups, the communication back and forth, the being able to adapt to change and working under the pressure of finishing these stories before the sprint ends. Yes, we did have some short times, and there was a lot of busyness in all of our schedules, but I think we were able to be exposed to and have a better understanding of the Agile and Scrum process.
Worked on user story 27, easily delete projects. I think this originally was added to the product backlog because if you're on the active project, the delete project button is disabled. However, playing with it a little bit, we realized that the keyboard delete would actually delete the current project and crash the system. So we went ahead and disabled that. So right now, if you're in an inactive project, there are 3 ways to delete it. You can still use the keyboard delete. You can use this drop down. We added a third method so that you can actually just press this button to delete it as well.
User Story 15 was intended to make event creation slightly easier for users. So first of all, the event creation dialog now informs the user if the time they're entering is invalid. So if it has the wrong number of digits, or if it's some absurd something like this that just isn't a time. This is useful because if you enter an invalid time into a JSpinner, it automatically reverts to the previous time, which could result in users setting the wrong time for events, and now they'll know if that's not the case. But secondly, it now allows users to enter times without colons. This is small but useful because users now don't have to search for such a rarely used key as the colon. So you'll notice if I back out and just say 12:56 perhaps, it'll automatically add that in. And it's created. User Story 45 was a big one that involved adding the bulk of our intended PSP functionality to memoranda. So you'll notice you can choose a project, choose a phase, and then log time and or defects for that phase. So let's say I go to the design and I spent 56 minutes on that and I injected 4 defects. So I log that and then I go to the current project down here. Say I said 654 lines of code in all. Log that. Shows me the specific stats at the end of that project for me. And then I can click Display All, and it shows the total stats I developed across all 6 completed projects.
User Story 86, we added the ability to visualize the PSP stats that we added in User Story 45. We added the ability to view lines of code, which is displaying right here currently. Defects per 1,000 lines of code, and the total number of defects. And all these stats update when you add an additional project. Let's see. So, set some stats for a new project. 900 minutes, 40 defects. 30,000 lines of code. 3,000 lines of code. Alright, now we'll go back over here and see we added the additional line or point on the graph, and this adds value to the application by allowing the user to see how they're doing as time progresses. As they go through new projects, they can see how their stats are improving.